Dan, it's kind of hard to believe another lacrosse season's here. You open up Saturday with Calvin. Kind of tell me what your expectations and hopes are for this season.
Well, the expectations, especially for this weekend, we have no idea. First time getting out on a full field. Scrimmage was canceled last week, so we didn't get a chance to get out and play. But the expectations for the season, I think, we recruit guys under the expectation that we want to win a conference championship every year, compete for that conference championship. And I guess, at the end of the day, as long as we're getting better every day when we get outside, I think it, is a successful season if we can just build and kind of hit that climax at the end of the year.
Of course, last year you went 9-5, 5-1 in the conference. You got your top two scorers back in Seth Gray and Matt Hughes. Talk about those two guys a little bit about what they'll mean to this year's team.
Yeah, I kind of challenged Matt Hughes in the offseason. I kind of warned him he's not going to be allowed to leave the field at all this year. As a midfielder, he's got to be in good shape. He's kind of one of those special athletes that just can take over at both ends of the field. There was a game in particular last year. He had 5 goals, and maybe one of them came in settled offense. It was all transition, him kind of just running through an entire defense himself. Seth Gray is a pretty special player. He has a nose for putting himself in dangerous positions.
And that's a good thing?
Yeah, no, absolutely. not for defenses that he's playing us, but for us, he just kind of catches the ball, and where he's catching the ball is always a threat. And, the amount of work he does off ball, he doesn't have to have the ball on the stick for too long to be very effective. So I think he's going to be a key to our offensive success.
And it's really not a lacrosse question, but when you look at Matt Hughes, dual citizen of Canada and the United States, it looks like he's traveled all over the world, Vietnam, the Philippines, Turkey, Italy. What does that kind of make him like to coach? Is he a little bit different, or?
He's a different guy, but he's a special, individual overall. He's kind of one of those guys who we're still trying to find what he's bad at. We've gone bowling, we've gone, seen him play basketball, racquetball. He's kind of a special person. He's a great student. He spoke at the Board of Trustees meeting a few weeks ago, and athletic director and president just had great remarks for what he had to say. And he's the kind of guy we like to put out in front of people to represent our lacrosse program, and it's just great that he's one of the most dangerous players on the field too.
And when you have a guy like that, when you look at lacrosse, and there's not exactly like there's a big wealth of local talent, lacrosse talent to get, whereas Greg Mason in basketball, Andy Fry in football, they don't have to travel. I believe if I counted right, your roster has players from 14 states, from California to Vermont to Florida. Tell me a little bit of just like what recruiting is like for you.
It's difficult to, I think the hardest part is getting people to visit campus. It's obviously, like you said, there's no lacrosse being played within probably a 45-mile radius of the school. Closest is Lexington, and it's kind of funny you mentioned that. We kind of joke. We have guys from Vermont, Southern Florida, Southern California, and Seattle, Washington, so we're about as far in the four corners as you can go of America. But it's an impressive when you get guys down to campus, they see how special the place is. It's tough to convince them Central Kentucky is necessarily a place where there's a program growing in the sport of lacrosse, but the people who do their research, the people who really take the time to look at the school, those are generally the guys who do the best here anywhere. They're thorough, they're smart, they're investigative people that are really willing to kind of go out on a limb, new adventure for them. So those are the kind of guys who tend to succeed here anyway.
Because I'm assuming that like Brett Fields, the athletic director, doesn't give you a recruiting budget where you take trips to South Florida, California, Vermont, New York, Connecticut, or do you?
I do. The majority of lacrosse recruiting is done in the summer, and I spent about 5 straight weeks in the Mid-Atlantic and New England. This year we're heading down to Texas, we're heading out to California, just finding different talent or different areas we can recruit from. The sport's blowing up nationally, and so it's kind of one of those, you can find guys from some unique areas that I think our admissions department appreciates some of the areas we're bringing applications from. And like you said, I'm not sure all the sports at Center are really getting into those. It's probably a lot tougher for them to get into those with more schools out there that have the sport.
And again, with no really local lacrosse, some of that, anywhere close to here. Tell folks why, if they get a chance to come watch lacrosse, why they would like it, why you think they'd come back again.
The old saying is that lacrosse is the fastest sport on 2 feet. It's a physical sport. I like to tell people it kind of combines all the best attributes from any other sport you'll watch. There's full body contact like football. There's motion offense like basketball. There's transition like basketball. The padding, the hitting, the setup of the field similar to hockey, and kind of takes a little bit of everything and kind of combines it into one. My running joke is that, especially for the locals, there's a lot of people who will kind of pop their head over the fence and check out a practice and wonder why someone's getting assaulted with a metal stick and no one's doing anything about it. But it's an addictive sport. It really is. I think, it's confusing at first, I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of questions being asked by some of the newer people to the sport, but it's fun, it's fast. We like to get up and down the field and push the tempo quite a bit.
It looks like it should be a good year for you because you've got a lot of veterans this year, I guess, from the years of recruiting you kind of built up. And also, so that make things go a little bit easier this year. You've been in the system, guys are used to you a little bit more.
Yeah, no, it's great. A lot of practice these days. We don't have to explain too much. We call out a drill name and everyone grabs the balls, grabs their sticks, gets to where they need to be, and the drills are up and running pretty quickly.
So when you do play, is this something students here really like to come watch? I would think it sounds like that would be a great sport for college students especially to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say so. And Center's an interesting place just with the high percentage of students that are athletes. There's a lot of school pride here. A lot of people kind of have similar rivalries, across sports. And, on days like today when it's raining and snowing, probably not going to get a great turnout for games. But, Saturday it's supposed to be 65 degrees and no real weather issues. So should be, it's a fun one. It's, again, high tempo. Physical. I think people really can get into it.